Welcome to 21st Sports 2015 season preview for the New York Giants. We're going to go over the roster as well as the season schedule and make predictions for every single game in the regular season. Let's get started with the roster. And at quarterback, Eli Manning. And Eli Manning got a big contract right before the start of the season. And Eli Manning has won 2 Super Bowls, but in my opinion, Eli Manning is probably one of the most overrated quarterbacks in football. I do like Eli Manning, but he's just way overrated. He did have a big season last year, no doubt about that. And if he could perform the way he did last year, then the Giants should have success, but that's a huge question mark. But last year he had 4,410 passing yards, which was excellent. He also had 30 touchdowns to just 14 interceptions, and that was one of his best touchdown to interception ratios of his career. So it was one of the best years of Eli's career. And if he can build upon that success, is actually the best year of his career. His highest passing total in terms of yards per game and season, and also, like I said, his touchdown to interception ratio. If you actually look the year before, in 2013, he had 27 interceptions to just 18 touchdowns. So he had 9 more interceptions, but then in 2014, he had 16 more touchdowns. And that's the thing with Eli, is he throws a lot of interceptions. He averages 1+ interception per game in his career. He's had 185 interceptions in just 169 games, 167 of which he started. Like I said, you just have to look back to 2013. That's just 2 years ago. Like I said, he had more interceptions than touchdowns. So is he going to bounce back to those ways, or is he going to continue with success? Like I said, it's not the first time where he's had success and had more touchdowns than interceptions. But if you look throughout his career, he struggled with that for sure. And it's not something that's just, where he's progressing like steadily every year. Like I said, he's kind of like a roller coaster, and that's why you got to wonder, is he going to, regress back into throwing all those interceptions? Of course, he does have the tools once he gets Victor Cruz back healthy. Cruz won't be playing in week 1, but once he gets him on the field with Odell Beckham Jr. in his second year, if he can stay healthy, that's a big question mark about these receivers too. Will they be able to stay healthy? They're very short, they're small, they are quick, and they do have excellent hands. And you got to have excellent hands. That's the thing with Eli. If you notice, Eli's always throwing these catches, throwing these passes that end up as circus catches. So that amazing catch by Odell Beckham Jr., the reason why it's so amazing is because Eli is not accurate. He just throws the ball up there, hopes his receiver can go get it. I mean, in a way, there's a method to his madness, because if you throw the ball in a crazy place where the defender can't get it and only the receiver can get to it, that does make sense, except with his high interception ratio throughout his career, it's not really that case. It's more a matter of just him being very inaccurate with his passes. Although last year he did complete 63%, which was a phenomenal number, especially for Eli. Like I say, he had a great year last year, but he has to be consistent. And can he be consistent? Because he has not been consistent throughout his entire career. Of course, they did add Shane Vereen in the backfield, and he is a threat to catch the ball out of the backfield. And so he should contribute to their offense. And, of course, Rashad Jennings is also back in that backfield, and Andre Williams. So they do have some players and some playmakers. Also, Larry Donnell. Larry Donnell is capable of exploiting certain defenses. As we saw last year, he had some big games. So Eli does have the targets. Like I said, he's never been that accurate. Although last year, like I said, he had a phenomenal year. And if he can build upon that success and have a year that mirrors 2014, then the Giants will be just fine. But if he performs like he has in the past, if he plays like he did in 2013, then it's going to be a long year. So we shall see. But let's move on to the defense. And up front, we got Cullen Jenkins and Robert Ayers on the ends. Then in the middle, at tackle, you got Marcus Kuhn and Jonathan Hankins. Then the linebacking core, you got Devin Kennard and JT Thomas on the outside, and John Beeson in the middle. Then at corners, you have Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie and Prince Akumamara. I probably butchered that name, but I apologize. So then at strong safety, we have Cooper Taylor, and at free safety, Landon Collins, the rookie from Bama. You also have Merriweather in that secondary. So their defense is all right, but it's nothing special. Of course, if they play up to their capabilities, then they could outperform my projections. It's very possible, but there's no one really on their defense that jumps out at you and just like blows you away like on certain squads. And it's like I said, it's a team sport. So if they play as a cohesive unit, then they could have success. Like I said, they're not necessarily the most talented squad that's out there, and so I think the Giants definitely are going to have a long season in my opinion, but we'll get to that in a minute. Let's look at the special teams. Kicker Josh Brown, he's a good kicker. And then we have Brad Wing as their punter, and then on kick and punt return duties you have Dwayne Harris, and of course Ruben Randall and Preston Park will be helping out with that as well. So that's the roster. Now let's look at the season schedule. Of course, they'll be starting off Sunday Night Football, a classic matchup versus the Cowboys. But this one's in Dallas there in Week 1, September 13th at 8:30 kickoff. Like I said, Sunday Night Football. It's going to be in prime time. It's going to be an interesting game. You can see a lot of points, and I think the Cowboys win this one in Dallas. So then Week 2, September 20th, 1 o'clock kickoff on a Sunday. They host the Atlanta Falcons, and I believe they could beat the Falcons. Falcons have some issues on their offensive line that they haven't really shored up quite yet. Of course, we shall see, but I believe the Giants can beat the Falcons in New York. Then Week 3, September 24th, Thursday Night Football, their second primetime game of the year, 8:25 kickoff. This one at home against the Redskins, their division rivals, their second division rivalry game of the season, and I believe they can beat the Redskins. They, have a much more talented team than Washington does. So then Week 4, October 4th, they're going on the road to Buffalo, upstate. It's a 1 o'clock kickoff, and I believe the Buffalo Bills can win this game. They got a tremendous defense. Of course, they do have questions at quarterback, and so maybe the G-Men can pull this one off, but I think Buffalo is going to win. That's my official pick. So then Week 5, October 11th, they're back in prime time for the third time in just 5 weeks. This one, another Sunday night game, 8:30 kickoff at home against the Niners, and this used to be one of the classic matchups, but the Niners are a shadow of their former self, especially the team that made the Super Bowl just a few years ago, and so I think that the G-Men should win this game against the Niners. So then a back-to-back primetime game. It's already their 4th primetime game of the season. That the networks wanted to get Odell Beckham Jr. on primetime because, that equals ratings. So October 19th, they're going to be on Monday Night Football, 8:30 kickoff in Philadelphia against the Eagles, their division rivals. And the Eagles have just such a high-powered, potent offense that I believe that they'll outscore them, and the Eagles will win this game. So in Week 7, October 25th, back to Sunday, a Sunday day game, 4:25 kickoff at home against the Cowboys as they face Dallas for the second time this season, and I believe they win this one in New York, splitting the season series against their division rivals, the Cowboys. So then Week 8, November 1st, 1 o'clock kickoff against the Saints in New Orleans, and the Saints are a tough team to beat at home, so I believe New Orleans pulls this one off. Then in Week 9, November 8th, a 4 o'clock kickoff, their second straight road game against an NFC South opponent, and usually you would think NFC South, I'm sure that most people that saw that on the schedule think like, hey, the NFC South was a cupcake last year, they were a walkover, and maybe this is a couple of road games they could win, but I actually have them losing both of these games. This one against the Buccaneers in Tampa Bay. I think the Buccaneers are going to be a much improved team, and I think Jameis Winston is going to be Rookie of the Year, so I believe the Buccaneers win this one. So then Week 10, November 15th, another Sunday game, this one back at home against the Patriots, as this is a rematch of the Super Bowl from a few years back, one of the most watched Super Bowls and the most rewatched Super Bowls, especially in the New York area, but I believe the Patriots get revenge for that. Of course, it's just a regular season game, but I think the Patriots win this one. So then Week 11 is a bye week. Then coming out of the bye week, Week 12, November 29th, 1 o'clock kickoff in D.C. against the Redskins. Their second game against the Redskins, and I believe this one in D.C., the Redskins are going to pull this one off, and they're going to split the season series against the Redskins. It's tough to beat a team in your division twice. You're so familiar with each other. And although I do believe the Giants could win this one and are more talented than the Redskins, I think the Redskins pull it off in D.C. So in Week 13, December 6th, 1 o'clock kickoff in New York against the Jets. So this is the Battle of New York, and really it's the Battle of Jersey, even if you want to say. And it's the Battle of MetLife because these two teams share the stadium. So, I mean, it's kind of a home game for both teams, but officially the Giants are the home team. And you know that the Giants got more fans in New York than the Jets, even though the Jets do have a strong presence. But I believe that the Giants beat the Jets. I think they can do that for sure. Like I said, the Jets have, the issues at quarterback. Otherwise, they're actually a pretty solid team, but that's going to hurt them, and I think the Giants win this one. So Week 14, December 14th, back in prime time for the first time since way back in Week 6. Or at that point, that was their fourth. This is their fifth and final primetime game of the regular season. It's in Miami against the Dolphins, Monday Night Football. The Dolphins play tough on Monday night. And the Dolphins have one of the toughest teams in all the NFL this year, and I think that the Dolphins win this game. So then in Week 15, December 20th, 1 o'clock on a Sunday, they're going to be hosting the Carolina Panthers, and I believe that they will beat the Panthers. I think the Panthers are an overrated team. Even last year, they won the division with a losing record. I think they'll have a losing record again this year, but it won't be enough to win that division, and I think they won't be able to win this game against the G-Men. So then, Week 16, December 27th, they're going to Minnesota, 1 o'clock kickoff on a Sunday against the Vikings. And I think the Vikings win this one, although the Giants, they have the possibility to win it, but I'm picking the Vikings. So in Week 7, January 3rd, 1 o'clock, you have a home game, the final game of the season against their division rivals, the Philadelphia Eagles. And there's a possibility this one could be for the division title. It's not what I have projected, but I would not be at all surprised to see it come down to this final week in this final game between the Eagles and the Giants for all the marbles in the East, which one team will win and go on to win the division and go on to the playoffs, and the other team will be going home. That's not what I have projected, but I wouldn't be surprised if that did happen because there's a few games here with the Giants. I picked them to lose, but I could see them winning. And a few games here and there will make the difference. Let's think if Eli, is he going to be Eli 2014 or is he going to be Eli 2013? If he's Eli from 2014 in 2015, then this game would be for the title in the East. But if he's anything short of last year's performance, then they'll already have been out of the playoff picture, which that's actually what I think is going to happen. It's just how his career is gone. But I could very well be wrong. But as it is, with that, I have them just at 6-10. So, winning the two games back-to-back, Week 2 and 3. I mean, they have a good start. And they win in Week 5, win in Week 7. And then 13 and 15, both wins. So 6-10 is where I have them. That's my projections. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if they can make 8-8 or 9-7 and be in the run for the East. It's possible, although I think the Eagles are going to run away with it. But let me know what you think in the comments section below. Definitely interested to read your thoughts and opinions, whether you agree or disagree. Let me know what you think about the roster, what you think about the schedule, and what you think about our predictions, and what are your predictions? Where do you see the Giants going in 2015? Thank you very much for listening. It is greatly appreciated. I hope you're having a good day, and have a great weekend, and enjoy all the sports.